Heaven, My Joy, Part 3. In this devotion, God, our Father, has triumphed over Satan and his evil influences. With Satan and all of his followers removed from any association with God, full joy will be in and throughout God's family forever. How does one describe and experience this full joy? Remember that Jesus told us that he was going to prepare a place for us, John chapter 14. In such preparation, God gives us a sequence of events that will take place. First, we see that the first heaven and the first earth have passed away, and that there is no longer any sea, Revelation 21:1. We know that the first earth is filled with pollution and sin. It's sin that has ravaged the planet. Looking back at the creation, we remember that as God created all things, he saw that they were good, and man, created in his image, was very good. Sin entered God's very good creation through man's rebellion, and the decline of all creation began. No wonder God will bring an end to the first earth, as he will do to all men who reject the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross. And reading the passage in 2 Peter chapter 3, one might get the thought that the destruction of the heavens refers only to the atmosphere. But clearly the ultimate reference to this place is that which Jesus called paradise, in my thinking. We might ask what was wrong with the first heaven and the sea. Well, remember that Satan has access to the first heaven, Job chapter 1. Sin was given birth first in heaven with the rebellion of Satan and his followers. Nothing unclean is acceptable to God's presence. Even Jesus, as a sacrifice for sin on the cross, sin was laid on him by the Father and caused our Father to look away, Matthew 27:46. Notice further that there will no longer be any sea. My thought here is that John saw a crystal sea in his vision, Revelation chapter 4, verse 6. And in that vision, God was on his throne. There seems to be a type of separation between God and man, although the sea implies a sense of peace. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 3, we're told that God himself dwells among his people. He is seen as stepping down from his throne, becoming totally personal with those who truly love him. Our Heavenly Father becomes my peace in a very personal way. The next question that comes to my mind is, why will there be a new earth? My thinking here is that with the creation described in Genesis, God declared that it was good. Perhaps the joy of our Father was the perfection of his creation as a statement of his glory. What man had corrupted, our Father will reestablish as something good. Now, I do not want to imply that God will recreate man, because the ultimate creation, meaning the image of God, on a day will be raised from the dead, judgment for evil, and life everlasting for those of his family. John chapter 5, verses 28 through 29. The place described by Jesus in John 14 will then be completed. Next, John sees the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down from heaven. God had made it ready as a bride, as adorned for her husband. Revelation 21:2. At such an event, the child of God will begin his ultimate joy, which we will examine in Heaven, My Joy, Part 4. Stay tuned.